Hello everyone and welcome to Zidam Astrology once again. This is your continuing tarot series. I hope that you have been happy, healthy and safe, and let's hope that this reading will give you a new beginning, a change and a transformation. Okay, Water Trine, this is your reading from Zidam Astrology for the period September 12th to 30th, 2022. And the first card that we have here is the Four of Coins, taking the position of your situation that you are currently facing. And the situation in question can be about your goal, finances, career, relationship. And the Four of Pentacles tells you it's all about you needing to be in control, you needing to be imposing your will on others, you needing to block change, although you know that it's the right thing. And it's your desire to control that may bring about chaos in your life, because this is a word of caution that you can't control everything. People need to make their own decisions. You cannot make it for them, so that you cannot trap people in your environment to make the decisions that you want them to make. People need to think for themselves and decide for themselves, so that you need to make sure that your need for control doesn't get out of hand. This can lead to stifling creativity and individual expression, where you can find changes and new opportunities. And the Four of Pentacles means that you need to be careful. You need to be careful about the level of control that you are trying to exert on others. Control in some situations is necessary and can be fruitful and constructive. But when you exert that control in too much, sometimes it can bring about chaos and negativity. And you don't need to control every move made by people around you. You know that you don't need to um, control people, so because you are afraid of making changes. And that is the situation that you are trying to control. Water Trine, you are trying to maintain the status quo rather than seeing the opportunities that are around you. You are resistant to change, even though you know that it's the right thing to do. And you need to allow people to determine their own path. And what led you to this situation, Water Trine? It's the Princess of Cups or the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups, pages in a reading is always about messages. And the Page of Cups is talking about emotional immaturity. So that you're a little bit childish and sensitive and silly in terms of what you want to do. And what you want to do is control. So the Page of Cups is telling you that you are kind of behaving with emotional immaturity here. This is why it has brought you to the situation of control, of trying to hoard, of trying to be greedy and controlling everything and everyone around you. The Page of Cups tells you about desires for love, care, and affection. But are you going to get those desires fulfilled if you control? No, you are stifling people's creativity and their need to make their own decision. If love is forced, it's no love at all. If a decision is forced because that is how somebody feel that you are exerting control and not allowing them to make their own decision, then they are not going to be happy, and you are not going to be happiness, because it breeds contempt, because it breeds animosity. So the Page of Cups is telling you that yes, you are a little bit emotional, but it's immaturity. You're being silly. You're trying to control someone, but you wouldn't get the outcome that you want, because the person that you want to love you or care for you needs to make up their own mind. They need to come to you on their own. Do not force it. The Page of Cups is all about emotions, love, romance. But it's a little bit childish in the pursuit of these things, and you can be selfish and moody and silly when this Page of Cups comes around. It's a metaphor for a daydreamer. So don't be a daydreamer. Look at these things and let people make their own decision. Take your head out of the clouds and let your relationships develop as they should. You know, think about what you will lose if you don't let people make their own decisions. And the character and attitude you have here is bittersweet, the Nine of Wands. And the Nine of Wands is suggesting that you have both struggles and successes ahead, but you have the capacity within you to overcome them. You have the capacity within you to be comfortable at this moment, but there is likely signs of trouble coming to you. But you are able to deal with them in your personal and professional life because you have the inner strength that you can call upon to maintain that situation where you have the stability and the financial rewards of the Four of Pentacles, where you are in possession of resources that can help you, and that you will not need to control others to give you the decisions that you all want, and Nine of Wands tells you that you are halfway through the battle, and that recent events, yes, have left you drained because you are a little bit immature in your emotional needs and wants, and it's left you drained and without energy and feeling that you can't go on. But you are close to getting what you want, Nine of Wands. The road has the end, and if you only lift your head, you can see the end of the road. You can see that checkered flag. You are close to getting what you want. You just need to gather your last strength and push forward, and you will be successful. You have ongoing battles at this point in time. It is going to give you fatigue and weariness, but you're nearly there. You're nearly there. Get rid of the need to control, get rid of the need of to force the relationship and the love. It's childish. Persevere, but gather your strength. Learn from your past failures. Make your last stand because the road is nearly at an end. You are nearly there, water trine. You know, you everything may not have worked out as you had wished because it has been a long road. It has been a long road, but the end is near. You can see it now. There has been challenges and setbacks, but you just lift your head, Nine of Wands. Just lift your head is the Nine of Wands message to you, water trine, and you can see that you are close to success. And what is the advice? The seven. What is the advice for the water trine? Cons Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces? It's the Seven of Coins. And the Seven of Coins is all about being persistent, persevering for your goals in life, having patience and a long-term perspective, which will likely lead you to your goals. The Seven of Coins is motivating you here to stick to your plans despite the obstacles that keep recurring, and it's telling you to stay on your path. Cultivate your plans, plant the seed that will bring you success at the end of the year. Look at the adversities as a way of growing. The weather might not be there for you. It might be hurricane or storms or flash floods that might destroy parts of your crops, but it's not going to destroy everything. Be flexible in the adversities that are coming your way, and you will obtain a rich harvest. You have to pursue your goals with perseverance, and if you manage your energy and strength well, in the long run, you will never run out of breath on your path, and you will be richly rewarded in the end. And another characteristic of the Seven of Pentacles is that you must be willing to invest energy and time in your endeavors, if you want to see success at the end of the road. And the Seven of Coins is telling you to put in the appropriate energy and effort to achieve your goals, and you will start to see results. This is what the Seven of Coins is telling you. And then what is the outcome? What is the advice? What is the resolution? Oh wow, water trine, the Ten of Coins. And this represents solid foundations, security, happiness in all areas of your life. And like all pentacle cards, it is usually connected to financial or material issues, so that you can expect especially good things in those areas of your life when it appears. It's a good card to get in relation to family, as it represents family responsibilities, family values, family support. You could find yourself tracing your ancestry or discovering your family tree when this card appears. You might be feeling close to your family at this time. The Ten of Pentacles signifies domestic harmony. It signifies celebration or a family gathering. And this card is, a representation of being conventional and embracing old school traditions. So life should be settled and stable when this card comes in. And this is what is the message, that you are stable, you have a good foundation. Yes, you are being a little emotional, immaturity, and with the need to control others and seeking to make their decisions or your decisions their own. Let them make their own decisions. The long road is nearly at an end. And at the end of the day, it is better for people to come to you of their own free will than forcing them to come to you through love or a relationship. Don't do that, water trine. Don't do that. Don't let your emotions be overloaded and overwhelm you to make that wrong decision. And let us see which is the goddess. And the goddess here is Yemaya. Yemaya is all about the goddess of home, fertility, love, and family. It's an awakening, like water. Yemaya uh, represents both change and constancy, bringing forth life and protecting it and changing it as is necessary. And the legend says that the first gift of this goddess to the humans was a seashell in which her voice could always be heard. And we need to honor that voice that is coming through our emotions, that's telling us we're being a little immature, that we want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear what we want to hear because we want to hear it. Let others speak for themselves. And Yemaya is a goddess of comfort and inspiration. She reminds us that even the worst catastrophes can be endured, and that with her help, and that we can learn to negotiate actually the ebbs and flows of change in our lives with her wisdom, courage, and grace. So this is the message that is being enhanced for you. Don't impose your will on others. Listen to others. Listen to the goddess's wisdom. Through your courage and grace will come to you. And let us clarify a little bit further again, and let's see what the wisdom tolerance. And I had tolerance in another one of my readings for another trine, and it's all about understanding that um, when we sense or when we look at things, we understand that there are fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. And the verse here that comes from the Bhagavad Gita about tolerance comes from chapter 2, verse 14. And the verse speaks like this: O son of Kunti, the contact between the senses and the sense of objects give rise to fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. These are non-permanent and come and go like the winter and summer seasons. O descendant of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. And this is the message that our sensory perception, the five senses, gives rise to sensations of happiness and distress. But none of these sensations are permanent. They come and go like the changing seasons. Because, although, as I said in my previous version of this in my other trine analysis, that, in the summer, water is cool, and it will give you relief. But in the winter, the same water could give you distress because it's cold. Thus, both the perceptions of happiness and distress experienced through the senses are transitory, they are impermanent, and if we permit ourselves to be affected by them, we will sway like the pendulum from side to side, and we will not have focus and we will not grow. We will not make a decision. We will just be toing and froing, as we say, and you will just be hanging there, and you're lahing, as we say in the Caribbean, that a person should practice then tolerance of both these feelings of happiness and distress without being disturbed by them, because they are not permanent. They come and they go. And this is the Princess of Cups in terms of emotional immaturity. This is the Four of Coins in terms of wanting to impose your control over others. The cards are telling you, don't do that. Be tolerant and awake to your senses and your wisdom and the grace. So water trine, this is your reading for the period September 12th to the 30th, 2022. I always wish to include Bhagwan in my videos because he has brought me this far, and I wish that he will carry me further through my actions and thoughts and words and deeds. I always wish the same to you. I usually end my videos on this slide, but I'd like to indicate that, because of this new concept that I've brought in to Zidam Astrology with the Trine concept of giving you three horoscope signs instead of individual signs for a reading, I have made a tutorial slide that I've left at the end of this video for you to look at, for you to digest, for you to understand. If you have any questions or queries, drop me a line at Zidam Astrology or at zida55@outlook.com. And this is how I work, this is how I do my teaching. I always like to share, I always like to transfer knowledge. So thank you once again for staying with me, for sticking with me. I ask that you share, you sign up, you subscribe. Be happy, healthy and safe until we meet again. This is just a reminder on what the water trine signs are. They are Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces. I have gone through this information on previous videos on my channel. So should you have any questions, please drop me a line at zida55@outlook.com or on my blog zidamastrology.com. Okay, this is your tutorial. As I mentioned to you in this video, that I'm going to leave a tutorial so that you can see why I have formulated the Trine concept to read horoscopes at Zidam Astrology rather than read individual signs from Aries to Pisces for you. And I've found in my research and in my reading and from my teachings that there are commonalities between the tarot and the Kundali, which is your birth chart in Vedic astrology. So that these are the commonalities that have aligned together, that have created a method that will utilize the tarot and Vedic astrology to read and analyze for you in the Trine concept. And this is a Kundali or birth chart taken randomly on somebody born on April 21st, 2022 at 6 a.m. And this person's birth chart or natal placements are here for you to see that these are the placement. This is the fate of this person. This is the ascendant or lagna, as we say in Vedic astrology, where we say this is the first house of the 12 houses in the zodiac sign. So wherever the ascendant or lagna falls is where we denote in Vedic astrology your first house. And in this particular chart we go clockwise from Aries to Pisces so that we'll know where your first to 12th house falls. So your first house is Aries, your 12th house will be Jupiter. And each house in Vedic astrology denotes something. It denotes your wealth, your family, your siblings, your relatives, your children, your marriage, your father, your mother, your work, your career, your community, your luck, your spirituality, your illnesses, whether it's chronic or routine, how you will earn your money, how you will lose your money, a multiplicity of things. And each of these houses has its significations that we read for you in Vedic astrology. So this is your natal chart. This is your fate. You cannot change the positioning of these planets in your Kundali, because this is the placement of the planets when you were born, the time you were born, and the place you were born. However, you cannot change fate, but you can change destiny. And destiny comes from the transit of the planets, because each of these planets, they move from one sign to the next during particular periods, and you can change your destiny through your freedom of expression and will, through your ambition, through your courage, so that you can change destiny. You can't change fate. And the transit of planets will give you a chance to change your destiny. And transits, planets move, as we see here, Saturn every 2.5 years, and so on and so forth. This is how planets move from one sign to the next. Neptune takes 14 years to move from one sign to the next. Mercury takes 1 month. Sun takes 1 month. And you will see these are the 12 planets that I deal with at Zedam Astrology, so that they are the ones that I look at and how they move. And every placement of a planet in a particular sign says something, does something, has an aspect on your natal planet, and it throws out potential or a pathway for you to understand what can be happening. You know, it is the natal chart is a map of what the sky was like on the day, for us to know ourselves and to better understand the types of energy we have available for each moment and situation in life. And because of the transits where destiny can be changed, we can say that this placement is not decisive, but it shows options and it marks pathways in which we can utilize to make choices during our lifetime. And then we have the source code of astrology, and that FEAW is basically fire, earth, air, and water. Those are the trines that I look at, and the 4 elements are the source code of astrology, and they are the blueprint of your soul. You know, you become the architect of your destiny by using this blueprint of our soul. And the blueprint of our soul, one of the trines that I use, because it's the foundation, you know, one of the trines that I use is the Dharma Trikona. And the Dharma trine tells you that, you know, this is the trine that keeps us on the soul's mission, the accumulated merit and the manifestation of past karma. And this 159 denotes the houses 1, 5, and 9. And as you see, we have fire, earth, air, and water trines. So this is the source code of astrology. And tradition holds that religious duty, or dharma, is the primary aim of human life, since it is the foundation which you develop your wisdom and your discretion to pursue wealth, which is artha, which is another trine, happiness, karma, which is a third trine, and we pursue these wealth and happiness from the wisdom we get from dharma, so that we will not compromise our chances of liberation, which is moksha, which is the 4th trine. But I use the 1st trine because it is the foundation, it is the primary aim of your birth on this earth. And Hinduism describes the Dharma trine as the natural universal laws whose observance enables us to be contented and happy and to save ourselves from degradation and suffering. So that dharma is the moral law combined with spiritual discipline that guides our life, you know, and this is what the dharma trine is. And I'm just going to pull up another version of the zodiac circle, the 12 signs, and I'll just give you an example so that this random Kundalini or birth chart gives you Aries as the ascendant. And with Aries as the ascendant, that will be the 1st house. The 1st house will be Aries, the 5th house will be Leo, and the 9th house will be Sagittarius. And this is the trine. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius is the fire trine. And with the fire trine, even if your first bhava is Leo, then Leo will be your first house, Sagittarius will be your fifth, and Aries will be your ninth. You will still remain in that trine if your ascendant moves from Aries to Leo or Sagittarius. And remember, your ascendant moves every 2.5 hours every day from one zodiac sign to our next in Vedic astrology. And then we have the Earth trine, and the Earth trine can begin with Taurus, and if it begins with Taurus, then you would have as your fifth house, you will have Virgo. As your ninth house, you will have Capricorn, and this is your Earth trine. Then your air trine will be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. That is your air trine. And obviously your water trine will then be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, so that all your signs are taken care of there, as you see. So these are the trines. And why I do the horoscope in trines is because Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, when one is activated, each of these are activated because they are in a trine. They are in a dharma trine, where your duty, where your vision, where your wisdom are all created for you to understand that first house is you are born, then fifth house is your children, and the ninth house is your father. So you get the circle of evolution. Your father produces you with your mother. Your mother helps you throughout your life. When you are an adult, then you produce children. And that is where you get this circle of evolution, so that the Dharma trine here is what connects each of these three signs in the zodiac. And then we have the tarot deck. And the tarot deck, as we know it, has wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. And you will see that the wands is with fire, the pentacles is earth, and swords are air, and cups are water. So that here now we have the commonality between the tarot deck and the zodiac astrology, the source code of astrology. So that this is what I find with the commonalities. There are so many other things that I can speak about, but this is the basic. This is the basic. And if we have to talk about, a tarot spread, that my go-to tarot spread is the Tetractys. And the Tetractys tarot spread comes from that Greek philosopher Pythagoras, who threw out for us the Pythagoras theorem. And he can be viewed as a Vedic Brahmin, because three of the things he did or believed in was that he wore white exclusively, he was a vegetarian, and he believed in reincarnation. And his theorem existed in the Sanskrit texts in India. So that there we have the commonality again. And then even so, the tarot deck, the fire is clubs, pentacles is diamonds, swords is aligned to spades, and cups is aligned to hearts. So this is where we get the commonalities. This is where I can utilize a union of tarot and Vedic astrology to bring you a complex issue, but a different take on reading your birth chart, because you cannot live by yourself, you weren't born by yourself, and you can't grow up by yourself. There is a community, and that community brings the trine, so that you feel comfortable if you are in the fire trine with people from Leo and Sagittarius if you were born in Aries. Likewise, it goes so for the other trines. So this is my research, this is my method that I use, and I hope I was clear, complete, and concise. I ask that you share, sign up, and subscribe, review my videos, look at my transit series, and I will join you next time. Thank you so much. This final informational slide tells you about its synergy between Vedic astrology and tarot based on my research at Zeram Astrology. And I ask that you look at it, you understand it, you digest it. If you don't understand, as I said, look at my previous videos or drop me a line at zedamastrology.com or zeta55 at outlook.com.